Hi and welcome to this presentation on the tracking system that we use here at Luckley House School. My name is Ian Vallance, I'm the Deputy Head, and if you have any questions about our tracking system, please contact me, unless during the presentation I tell you to look and contact somebody else. So our tracking system is called Doddle, and this is the front page of the Doddle website, and I'll talk you through this in a couple of minutes' time. Before we start though, you do need to have two things before you can access our tracking system. The first one is the Doddle code, the parent Doddle code, and you would have been sent this by the school office. If you haven't got this code, or you've lost it, or you need a replacement, please just contact the school office and they will reissue your parent code for Doddle. Once you have that parent code, you are able to go in and set up your own Doddle account, where you can track the academic progress of your child throughout their time here at Luckley House School. The other thing you need are the expected grades, expected GCSE grades, which are generated by the CATS tests that your child would have taken when they began the entry process into Luckley House School. And once again, those CATS tests predicted grades have been sent to you. If you haven't got them, please contact the office and they will give you a replacement set. Okay, so once you have those, now's the time to log into Doddle, and I'll show you how to do that right here. So what we have here, this is the Doddle homepage. If you just click on login, the URL address is doddlelearn.co.uk, so www.doddlelearn.co.uk, and that will take you to this page here. If you click on login, what you will find is you'll find three different login areas. Forget the school admin one, that's the one we need to use. Student and teacher, as a parent you don't need to use this, but as a pupil your child will be using this, and your child will have been given an introduction to Doddle and their own Doddle login codes to access the system here. The one you want, however, is the parent one. If you click on the parent one, this will take you to this page here, and all you need to do is you need to give an email address so that Doddle can send you the necessary information, and then the password, which is the Doddle code that you've been given by the office. And as I said before, if you haven't got that code, or you've lost it, or you need a replacement, please just ask the office and they will send one to you. And then what you do is you create an account and away you go. I'm going to come out of the parent one and go into the teacher one so I can show you a bit more about how Doddle works. So what Doddle does is Doddle tracks your child's performance against what we call the expected grades. And as I've said earlier on, the expected grades are generated by the CAT scores. Now, every school has to have a baseline data, and we have chosen to have our baseline data as a CAT scores. Some other baseline data you may recognise is that some schools would have used the Key Stage 2 results. Some schools would have used the Common Entrance Exams results. Some schools use something called MIGIS, but what we do is we use this thing called the Cognitive Ability Test, and that's why it's called the CATS tests. And the CAT tests are there to give us our baseline data. Now, because we use it as baseline data, we cannot choose to change the baseline data. The baseline data that we are given from the CATS tests stays with us as a school right the way through your child's time at Luckley. However, that's only used to judge us as a school in terms of our performance against the baseline data. As parents and as pupils and as teachers, we can have a private arrangement where we change your child's expected grade, and this gives us the opportunity and the flexibility to get the maximum academic progress out of your child that we can do. But any changes that we make will be done in consultation with both you, the teacher, myself, and the child as well. So these target grades, these expected grades are flexible, and they can change both up and down, but they will only change in consultation with those four groups of people. So what we do at Luckley House School is we have a mission, and our mission academically is to take those expected grades that are predicted by the CAT scores and to raise them by 0.5 of a grade. So what that means is that if your child has a target set of grades or expected grades of 8 GCSEs at grade 5. What we would hope to do here at Luckley is to raise those by an average of 0.5. So by the time your child gets to the end of their GCSE career, instead of having 8 grade 5s, we would expect them to have 4 grade 5s and 4 grade 6s. Now that's an average and overall, but obviously each child is different, and so we are happy to work with you on an individual basis, as I say, to get the most out of your child academically. So what we do is we use this Doddle tool to track your child's progress to make sure they are remaining on target for their expected grade. So here, as a parent, is what you can expect to see when you log in to Doddle. And you can either do this on a computer or you can download the Doddle app. And once you've got your account set up, the Doddle app can be done on phones as well. And this is the sort of thing that you will see. You will see a list of what are called PLCs, and they stand for Personal Learning Challenges. And this is what a class teacher would report on average about 5 times a year. Now some departments report more frequently. If your child is doing a subject that is on a carousel, then that would be less frequently. But generally speaking, we encourage teachers to report 5 times a year on Doddle. And what they would do is they would report the child's progress at the end of a time where they've done a significant assessment piece. Now that assessment piece could be a test, it could be a long essay, it could be a piece of practical work, it could be a piece of oral work, it could be all sorts of things depending on what subject is actually doing the reporting. But the report will always be the same style. So at the very top of the report there will be a statement that reports overall progress within that assessment period or within that topic. And then spaced out below it will be the personal learning challenges that go towards combining to make this overall comment at the top. And as parents, we don't necessarily expect you to understand everything that is in these lowercase comments. But we would ask you to look at this uppercase comment because that's probably the most important, certainly as a starting point for checking your child's progress. So let's have a look at what these dots on the right-hand side mean. These are called RAG ratings, and they're called RAG ratings because RAG stands for red, amber, green. And as far as the lowercase comments are concerned, red means that your child hasn't quite got this yet or is working towards understanding it. Amber means they're on the way to understanding it, but occasionally they make mistakes or they don't apply the information fully correctly. And green means they are fully understanding of this particular target, this particular PLC, this particular personal learning challenge. Okay, so as you can see, this particular child here, they have fully understood a couple of the personal learning challenges. They're working their way towards the amber ones, and there's a few there that they haven't quite mastered. What I then do, these grades are then graded irrespective of what your child's target grades are. So we don't take into account whether this is a grade 9 pupil or a grade 5 pupil at this particular point. Either they've got it or they haven't got it. And obviously a grade 9 pupil, a pupil heading towards or has target grade 9s at GCSEs, you'd be expecting to see mostly greens. And a pupil here, this will probably be a pupil sort of grade 4 or 5, who's getting some things, not quite getting other things. So what I now do is I now grade their progress overall, but in this time, when I do the uppercase comment, I am now taking into account what sort of pupil this pupil is. Okay, and again, I will grade it red, amber, green. Amber is what you will probably expect to see most of the time. What amber means is that your child is on target to meet or to exceed by 1 grade their target grade. Okay. So in this particular example here, what I've got is I've got a chapter 5 in maths, and it's all about probability. And I would expect, as I said, this to be a pupil of around about level 5, grade 5. So they're heading towards grade 5 at GCSE. They're getting some things, there's one or two things they've not got. And as a maths teacher, I know that I'm not particularly worried about these red ones because I will come back and do some more revision later on and hopefully they will get them. And even if they don't, they don't necessarily need to be able to understand how to construct a box and whisker chart to identify median and range in order to get a level 5 at GCSE. So I have said that this pupil here is doing absolutely fine, is on target to get a 5 or a 6 in their GCSE. And that's what an amber grade means. And one of the things that we've had to re-educate people to accepting is that amber is fine. Amber is not a warning sign. Amber is not, mediocre. Amber is great. This pupil is working well and is working towards their target grade. However, if this pupil I was teaching here is a level 3 pupil, is aiming to get a grade 3 at GCSE, not that we'd be working towards grade 3 in anything at GCSEs at the moment, but if they're a grade 3 pupil, I'd be looking at that and going, wow, that's really impressive actually, for a pupil who's expected to get a grade 3. And I would be very happy to say they are working way above grade 3, and they are working towards a grade 5 here, and they've done really, really well. And so I would grade them on green there. And likewise, if this was a level 9 student, I would expect in many more greens and almost no reds at this particular topic. So I would be grading them red. So red means that they are underperforming against their target grade. Amber means they are on target to hit or go 1 above their target grade. And green means they are on target to exceed their target grade by more than 1 grade. Okay, so that's how we track the pupils there. You will see these as they are put onto Doddle by staff. And I'm just going to talk you through 3 of these different screens here. So this is what you might be expected to see once you open up Doddle, and you can see the thing here. What you've got is you've got English, science and history. And you will see the last green, the last yellow and the last red thing that was graded. Okay, so the last 3 things you will see. But what you will also notice is alongside these are 3 little dots. If you have 3 little dots here, what you will know is there are more comments behind these ones that you can see. So the only ones you can see are the 3 latest ones. And if you want to see the other ones, just click on those comments and they will open up. The middle one just shows you that you can choose particular subjects. So if you know that your child has been doing a test in something like business, you can open up the list of topics, click on business, and it will go straight to the business one. And this one here on the right-hand side just refers to the thing I was talking about a minute ago. If you keep on clicking on the one that has the 3 dots, what will happen is it will continually open up all the ones down the side of it, and so you can see absolutely everything that's on there. And as I said before, the ones you are most interested in are the ones that is written in uppercase, because that will give you a very quick understanding of progress through a particular topic in a particular subject. Okay, a couple of frequently asked questions. How accurate is the CAT score? To be honest, it's very accurate. If it wasn't accurate, we wouldn't be using it, and something like 1.5 million people, million students each year are using this across the world. So the CAT scores are very, very accurate. There are 1 or 2 anomalies. So for example, if you are studying something with a practical element, like music or drama or PE or art or something like that, and you are particularly gifted in those subjects, you might already be a grade 8 musician, or you might already be enrolled in RADA, or you might already be playing for West Ham United or something like that, then that grade, that practical ability is not recognised in the CATS tests. And so your grade may improve in those subjects because of the practical element. But just be aware that most GCSEs have at least 60% of theory element as well. The other thing that is an anomaly is languages. If you happen to have an Italian-speaking grandmother who was looking after you when you were younger and your Italian is flawless, then that's the other sort of thing that it's difficult for the CAT scores to pick up. But generally speaking, the CAT scores are very accurate indeed. As I said, the CAT score is set in stone for us as a school. We have no option. That's our baseline data. But in order to push your child as far as it's comfortable, to get the most out of them academically, we can absolutely change those target scores so that we know that your child is meeting their academic potential as fully as we possibly can do. Things like behaviour and effort, they will be recorded, they will be reported in a school report that you'll get at least twice a year. And what will happen is that 3 times a year you'll get a sort of a summary of Doddle, which will give you red, amber, green across all the subjects. But then twice a year you'll also get a report from your child's tutor, which will tell you about their behaviour, their engagement, and all the other things that we hold so important here at Luckley. And that's, as I said, those bits there, things like charity involvement, or how well they're making friendships, or whether they've been involved in other activities that are going on in the school. So we will definitely report on those, but that's outside of the academic progress, which is reported by Doddle. Okay, so if the progress that your child is making is not relevant, is not reflected in the grades that they are achieving, what happens is that we will do some intervention. If your child is red rated in an uppercase Doddle, the chances are that you will hear about it from the teacher before you get to see it on the Doddle programme. Because what we try to do is to provide intervention very, very quickly at this point. So if, for example, I've set a maths test and a child has done particularly poorly and I have had to red rate them, what I will do is I will write to you as a parent, or I will speak to the child, or I might do both. And what I will do is I'll put in intervention very, very quickly. And I will tell the child a number of things. I will explain to them where it was they went wrong. I will give them some additional work to be doing to try and fill that gap. I will then offer some additional help for them if they need additional help. And then I will redo the test with them at a later date. And that's a sort of pattern that we as staff work at. Obviously, if it's an essay that's been done badly, they might be asked to rewrite certain parts of the essay. If it's a piece of practical work they've done badly, they might be asked to redo some of the practical work. And either I will work with the child individually and then change the grade from red to amber, and as a parent you don't really need to get involved, or I might ask you as a parent for help in making sure that the child has done the work. And obviously, if we get more than 1 or 2 reds, we will be contacting you very, very quickly so that you will know that we are putting in the intervention. Okay. However, we may also choose to move the minimum target grade. So if your child is constantly getting reds, we may ask you to come in and discuss with you why it is that this is happening. And sometimes there's a really good reason for this. It may be that a child has missed a lot of schooling, or has been ill, or in the current situation, COVID has hit too heavily. And we are struggling, and your child is struggling to keep up to date with, up to spec with the grades that they are required to get. So what we will do is we will, if you would like us to, and we think it's a good idea, we will move the minimum target grade down so that they're not constantly getting reds. That happens very, very infrequently here at Luckley. What happens more frequently is that your child is getting 1 or 2 greens, and the teacher thinks, do you know what? I think it could be worthwhile pushing this child a little bit harder. So we will talk to you as a parent, and we'll talk to the child, and I get involved as well, because I tend to be the one that has the overall view. And we might discuss with you about moving the minimum target grade up. So for example, if a child is on a minimum target grade of 5 and we decide to move them up to a 6, then what happens then is that the teacher will no longer accept work that is of a grade 5 standard. And if the child is handing in grade 5 standard work, then they will be red rated. That obviously has sometimes that is a negative thing. And so although we might move the minimum target grade up, occasionally we move it up, realise it's too much pressure on the child and move it down again. So as I said, these are very, very fluid. Okay, what I want to do now is I want to take you back to the Doddle program and show you one or two of the features within Doddle that you don't have as a parent, but that your child has. And you can see these features through your child's Doddle account. So here we are, we're back on the home page of Doddle. And what you can see is when your child opens up Doddle is there's a whole list of subjects that they have been taking. We do have the ability to set some homework through Doddle as well. And although the homework is always recorded in the homework diary, you may occasionally find a homework diary report that says homework on Doddle or homework see Doddle. And at which point you come into this area here and you allow your child, or you ask your child to click on the particular subject that is recorded the homework as Doddle. So for example, let's go for maths because that's the one I understand most. If I click on maths, up will come the maths page and it will have a note as to what the homework is. The teacher will have set the homework in Doddle. Your child doesn't have all of these tabs along the top, but one of the tabs your child does have is one that says learning. In my one it's called resources, in your child's one it's called learning. And I just want to show you one or two things in here. So here's the resource page for maths, or the learning page for maths, and your child's page will look very, very similar to this, even though this is a teacher's one. If your child is in year 7 or 8, the probability is that the work will be set is a Key Stage 3 piece of work. And over on the left-hand side here, you can see I've got all resources, Key Stage 3 topics, Key Stage 4 topics. So let's look at Key Stage 3 topics. And now what Doddle does is it takes out all of the resources that are nothing to do with Key Stage 3. So we're left with just Key Stage 3 resources. Let's assume that what we want to do is we want to do a little bit of revision. We've had a test. We've had a test on a maths topic and it's not gone particularly well. So I want to do a little bit more work on that particular topic. And the teacher has suggested I look at Doddle. So let's pick a subject like probability, mean, median, mode, averages, that sort of thing. What I do is I go into the search bar and I type in what I want to do. So let's have a look at mean average. Okay, mean average. Click on go. And what Doddle does is it finds all the resources that I can use. And as I said, your child has access to this at any time, at any place. As a parent, you don't have access to this because of the licensing, but as a child, your child has access to almost all of this. So let me just show you one or two of these things. This one here is a lesson, a video lesson. If you clicked on this, it will take you to a video lesson. The one with a sort of arrow is a revision tool. We have some interactive activities here. And this one here, the one with the, looks like a whiteboard, is probably the most useful because that's a PowerPoint lesson all about calculating the mean average. And your child can click on any one of those and it will take them to the page and they can have a look at doing some work on that. So let's look at the revision one. So up comes a revision. This revision covers finding the mean of a set of data, understanding how outliers affect the mean, okay? And what your child does is they just work their way through the PowerPoint presentations here, answering the questions as they go along, and so on and so forth. And what happens is once they get to the end, they will be asked to close the presentation. On a child's, or a pupil's page, they won't be able to close the presentation until they've given some feedback to the teacher. So when they press close, up will come a dialog box that allows them to say, I fully understand this now, or I still need help, or I haven't got a clue what this is all about, or I've not quite finished revising it yet. And whatever they feedback, that feedback goes to the teacher straight away. So the teacher will know that the child has done the work. The one thing that your child won't see, that I as a member of staff sees, is this little thing here with the tick box. And this tick box is a quiz, a test. And what I can do as a member of staff is that I can set your child a test on Doddle. And what happens is your child will see this test in their homework page and they click on the homework page and it will open the quiz. And as you can see, the child gets 1 attempt at each question. However, if they want to go back and do it again, they can do the test again. But I, as a teacher, know how many attempts they took to get it right. So yeah, I can do that. So 10 marks are available in this particular one. Finding the mean of the set of data, away we go. Click on next. To work out the mean, press on the 2 gaps and choose the correct answer. So I'm going to click on here. Have I got a correct answer here? There we go. To find out the mean, I add all the values. That's the step 1. And step 2 is divide by the number of values. There we go. Okay, so that's what I know is the answer. I click on next. And it will tell me, excellent, I've done really well. And as a maths teacher, I would hope I would get that right. That's absolutely fine. If I've got the answer wrong, so let's get the next answer wrong on purpose. Mean is 60 divided by 6 equals 8. I know that answer's going to be wrong. 0 out of 3, you got something wrong. Please press C answers to see the correct answers and then press continue. So what I'm allowed to do is I can look at the answers here. I can see how they've worked it out. I can see what the answers are. I can understand more and I can help myself to understand this a little bit better. And then that takes me through the rest of the questions. So as you can see, Doddle is really, really useful. And as we come to the end of this presentation, what I'd just like to say is that this really comes into its own when we get towards the end of the year into exam mode. And lots of parents ask me, how does my child know what to revise for the exams? And the answer is, go back, look at Doddle and find where your red Doddle gradings are. And that will give you a really good idea of what to revise. And if you want to know how to revise, have a look at where your Doddle ratings are red, pick the keywords, put them into the search engine, and that will take you to some great revision ideas about how to revise for your exams. So there we go. There's a presentation on Doddle, how we use Doddle as our tracking system. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, and I will be happy to help you through any more information that you need. Thanks for watching.